Tim Taylor to me is the, like, people is like, who's the number one person you want to interview? Like Elon Musk. I'm like, I love Elon, but like,
he'll never give an interview.
Tim Taylor.
He'll never do.
I met him once briefly, but he's kind of gone dark on me, and I would do anything. He's my number one person who I want to speak with because he's so intriguing.
Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the goddamn internet, and today we have a really special one, and I know I say this really often, but today I mean it especially, okay? Because we're gonna be talking about Tim motherfucking Taylor, okay? So this guy is very mysterious. He's been mentioned in Diana Pasulka's book. He's been in Chris Bledsoe's story. He's been visited by Tim Taylor. Tim Taylor has taken a few in the ufology community to go to Egypt and check out some stuff there, talk to some really high up people, like in the, like basically the Pope, high up in that kind of world. And yeah, he's very into the weird kind of science at NASA, consciousness. This guy is like the GMan. Sorry, George Knapp, looks like this guy's gonna take your GMan spot, but you know that Half-Life 2 where there's always that guy with the briefcase that's like interdimensional person or some shit. It's just, I mean, like, this guy's very mysterious, and if you can see how Jesse Michaels wants to speak to this guy, and Jesse Michaels knows a lot, okay, and yeah, it just increases the curiosity overall by a lot, right? So Tim Taylor, really mysterious guy, been mentioned everywhere. It seems like this is the man that has the answers, but he keeps dodging and disappearing from Jesse Michaels. And if you've ever watched the Jesse Michaels American Alchemy video, you will know that he does literally so much effort, and it's such good content on a regular basis, and it's pretty insane. And yeah, so stick till the end because this video only gets better. Tim Taylor, we're going to be diving into this man, and subscribe, notifications on, like, comment, share with anyone you know, friends, family. That helps the absolute most. And let's fucking get into it.
What's his deal? What is he trying to do? Because just for context for the audience, this is a guy who shows up in Diana Pasulka's life when she's connecting the dots between Catholic concepts of divine interactions with modern ufology, and she shows Diana all sorts of interesting things. They go to the Vatican together. At the Vatican Observatory, they know who Tim Taylor is.
And they let him into the Vatican Archives without her presence.
Without
an escort.
Without an escort. He's a guy who's, I guess she claims that he flashed all sorts of interesting, you know, three-letter credentials, like all of them, as if he was sort of... And then Ryan Bledsoe, Chris Bledsoe's son, says that Tim Taylor was part of, told them that he was part of a secret time travel group in Nassau in the Bahamas, and Townsend Brown was the president of that time travel group. I would think all of this were to be totally insane, and I'd write it off completely out of hand, but I know that Townsend Brown spent a lot of time in the Bahamas, and he experimented with gravity, but he was secretly extremely interested in time travel because time and gravity are really coupled in general relativity. So who is Tim Taylor, and why does he keep popping up in all these places?
So this is an absolutely fantastic point by Jesse Michaels. This guy keeps popping up everywhere. So mysterious. Jesse met him once really quick. Like, he just slips out of your hands, right? So apparently this guy's into some time travel, guys. If this is true, this is like the biggest discovery ever, and they're keeping it from people. But then you get to the question of, is aliens or these craft from the future machines, you know, what the fuck is even going on? A time travel program, like, what, you know, and time and space, all that, like genius talk, physics. Can anyone make sense of this? This is really insane, right?
The other interesting connection with Tyler is he met Chris Bledsoe, I think, or before you.
That's right.
I
Yes,
think.
he did. Yeah.
And they had a relationship, and I think Ryan Bledsoe, who's Chris's son, said that Tyler had told Chris that he was part of a group with Townsend Brown, who I just mentioned. So Townsend Brown's this like fascinating mid-century inventor who I think, you know, made more discoveries in the world of gravity than meet the eye. You know, might have tied gravity and electromagnetism together. And that has implications for time as well, because if you can shift gravity at all, you can
That's
shift
right.
time and
That's
general
right.
relativity.
Yeah, yeah.
And he would talk in his private life constantly about time travel. And so what I found just so fascinating is Tyler tells the Bledsoes that he was involved with a group that was based in Nassau and the Bahamas. And Townsend Brown was the president of this group, and time travel technology was involved. And I would totally discount that and think that's probably wrong if I didn't know so much about Townsend Brown. And I know he spent a ton of time in Nassau in the Bahamas, and with a very interesting kind of cast of characters.
Well, you know, that's
Okay, let's just talk about this fact real quick. This sounds like an insane movie, right? This guy, super secret government clearances. He goes to the Bahamas. There's a secret fucking team program, etc., where they have mastered, or not mastered, developed time travel, and it shows like how this program progresses and everything that happens or is discovered. Like what the fuck even is going on, right? Going to the Bahamas, time travelers, weird characters. Like what?
so fascinating because when I knew Tyler, he was always talking about time travel. And
Really?
yeah, whenever a new movie about time travel would come out, he would go see it.
Like the Adjustment Bureau.
Yeah,
or the
he
Philip K.
loved
Dick.
it. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
And obviously his connection to Chris Bledsoe and the Bledsoe family. Chris Bledsoe wrote that book, UFO of God. He has a lot of interesting theories connecting this whole thing to Christianity, which I don't really agree with, but I respect it, and I'm open to stuff, right? So, yeah, he has a massive connection to this guy. I don't know what the fuck that's about, but the curiosity is peaking, right?
And the story that I like most is Tim Taylor brought a piece of the Roswell crash, put it in Chris's hand and others in the family, and Chris showed an enormous, unexpected reaction. And Taylor's response to Chris being impacted so heavily by this UFO material was, "Why you? I don't understand. Why you?" And they tell that story all the time.
Why you, like, in a suspicious way?
Why you in a curious way. Not negative, just curious.
See, now this is really something that really fascinates me as well. Like, why him? Okay, he's just an average Joe Schmo on a farm or some shit, right? He has this meditation thing that he does. Kind of sounds like CE5 from Stephen Greer, right? But I've seen some of his Instagram reels. I've watched him quite a bit on his socials, etc. And his sons, the Bledsoe Said So, is their podcast. And so why Chris Bledsoe? Like, why does he have this connection, and why does he attract this phenomenon? Like, he always posts on his stories like lights hovering above him, and he says thank you. And I think he's mentioned something like he focuses on love, respect, and curiosity or some shit like that when he like does these meditation sessions, and it attracts this phenomenon. It's really weird, really fascinating. Let me know what anyone thinks. Goddamn.
And does Bledsoe like Tim Taylor, or what's?
Yeah, I think that the relationship has grown more distant. They're not really good friends that much anymore, but they were friendly.
So this fat fuck was recently on Vetted as well, the guy with the funny hat, and yeah, they had an interview, and not everything aligns up with what he said and what he's saying here, and I would like to just showcase this as something to consider as well.
Yeah, we were talking about Tim Taylor and Chris Bledsoe in that X space. We just didn't get to it yet, but you had mentioned that potentially they were somewhere working on something, and you think maybe Tim borrowed Chris's download and started a company, kind of like yours that you
I
did.
don't know whether, I know this. Chris helped him with some medical stuff in Tim Taylor's laboratory. And subsequent to that, Taylor made a fortune, and Chris Bledsoe got none of it. The implications are pretty straightforward. I just don't have the final evidence to prove it. But shortly after that, Tim Taylor broke off connection.
Oh, shortly after that, he just stopped talking to Chris Bledsoe.
Yeah, he stopped going to see him.
Wow. Like, kind of like I got what I needed.
Like, well, that's my suspicious former intelligence person belief, but I don't have the evidence to prove it. I just know that it's strange.
I agree. Do you think Tim Taylor gets downloads on his own?
Yes. Yes. Not in American Cosmic, Diana Pasulka describes Tim Taylor getting downloads. She calls him Tyler, but it's Tim Taylor.
Have you ever heard of, or is this like a regular occurrence that people will take someone else's download or the information they got from that download and sort of use it, or, you know what I mean? Can you intercept someone's download? Is that possible?
I have no idea, because I've never gotten anybody's and nobody's ever gotten mine. So that I know of, but maybe. I just don't know.
So what the fuck? Okay, people are getting downloads, right? The question is, can it be intercepted? Can you do something with it? Whatever the fuck you are given, supposedly, like as a download from above. I don't know. Really weird. Yeah, why these people getting downloads? Why don't I get a fucking download? Why don't you guys get a fucking download? We should be striking. We want downloads as well, right? Like, what the fuck speciality treatment is this? So let's just take a quick second to notice how much access this man has to everything at his disposal as a showcase here, right? What is his clearance? Like, is this guy just like free roaming? Is he on creative mode? What the fuck?
So I saw two types of materials. One, I can say it looks like kind of metallic frog skin. I have to tell you a little bit about how we came about this. So I've written 2 books about it. I wasn't a believer. So when I went there, I even wasn't a believer. I was like, I think they're trying to give me misinfo. Something's going on.
Right.
Maybe they really believe this. Well, they both really believed this. I know that for sure. So Tyler's taking us. We had to wear blindfolds. We drive to a certain place. He says, put the blindfolds on. We had to leave our cell phones. We couldn't take any technology with us. It takes about an hour to get out to the site. We're blindfolded. We get out to the site. We were wearing, I guess there's rattlesnakes out there. And so we have to wear certain boots and, things like that. So we get out, we take our blindfolds off. And the first thing I do is I look around because it looks really familiar to me, even though I've never been out there. And Tyler looked at me and he said, looks familiar, doesn't it? And I said, yeah. And he said, you've seen it in the X-Files. What? He goes, they had an insider on their team. This actually fits into my research, that we learn everything we do about religion from media. But how did we get this stuff? So he actually did have metal detectors that were configured for specific types of metals. He had these built.
Is there a scientific term for these particular types of metals?
They're called metamaterials. I think that's just a fancy word for saying we don't know what this is.
And they're layered in some sort of a way where it's like atom upon atom.
Well, I don't actually know the science. I just know what these guys tell me because they're doing the research at their laboratories.
These people are very cagey about it. It's almost like they don't want to blurt out too much because it'll cut off access.
But I know that the reason that I don't want to is there's some type of national security issue, and I am an American. There's something like that going on.
Especially if someone else can figure out how to use these things.
So if this is to the point where people are worried about their safety and their country and national security issue, what the fuck does that make the rest of the world? Because America is such a superpower, the best superpower, and if they get this cagey and shaky and fear their national security, what the fuck? We're all fucked, right? So what even is that all about?
How do I know that anyone takes any of this seriously? Here is how I know. Grant Cameron visited, who's a well-known UFO person.
Yep.
Written many books on the experience of the phenomenon and so forth.
Yeah.
He went and visited Chris. And Chris shared a picture with him that Grant put up on his Facebook page. So I saw the picture. And everyone who had seen that picture missed the import of it. And what is the import of that picture? It's a napkin and an envelope with the napkin partially obscuring the address that's on the envelope. I knew the address because it was the address of Chris Bledsoe. I knew the napkin because it was the presidential seal on a napkin from Camp David. There's only one way you can have that napkin because it's a crime to copy the presidential seal. There's only one person that can get you to Camp David. And the picture was mailed to him by Tim Taylor.
By Tim Taylor.
And the only person that story can have been told to in that envelope was Barack Obama.
Oh my God.
The letter to me is ironclad proof that Chris's story was taken all the way to Barack Obama.
Via Tim Taylor.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
So this is crazy. And you're sure that that seal and that...
You can't copy it. The Secret Service and others will come and get you.
Oh my God.
And that Grant and others have not been slapped around for doing it, so the napkin was legit.
And whoa. So this brings up all sorts of
But
questions.
now you know why I'm a good intelligence agent. Just from looking at the picture, I put that entire narrative in
That's
there.
really
That's
impressive.
the kind of stuff I used to do.
So you guys know that story about all roads lead to UFOs? I think it was started by Jeremy Corbell. Could very much be wrong. But I think he says something like that sometimes. But all roads lead to Tim Taylor could be one as well. Yeah, it's fascinating how these different kind of sciences or observations come together, and now either they're gonna mix and become one that is factual, or I don't even know what the fuck, right?
When I met Tyler, that's what I thought. I thought more people have to know about this person.
Yeah.
Because he's an invisible, but he impacts so much of our history and we don't even know it.
That's the way. Yes.
Yeah.
I felt the same way. I felt like it was my duty or something. Well, I think about the person you pseudonymously named Tyler in your book, and he's this NASA mission controller. It seems like he's using kind of consciousness protocols to make the launches work. He's this very interesting figure. But then he goes to the Vatican with you and he has this conversion experience. And it's almost as if what he looks into in the Vatican archives confirms that the work that he's been doing is somehow mystical and like way more like globally meaningful than just this nuts and bolts, like we're putting satellites in space sort of thing.
Yeah, that was really an amazing experience for me to witness the conversion that he went through. We started at the Vatican looking at the records of Joseph of Cupertino and a bilocating sister, Maria of Agreda. And we also had exposure to Peter Gumpel, who had been a papal advisor, who's a Jesuit, talked a lot about the Templars, by the way.
Interesting.
Yeah. And
do you remember what he said about the Templars?
I do. Okay.
Moving on.
So that's where it started. So he started to re-examine his life, I guess.
Yeah.
And I could see that process because I've seen it before. And I had a feeling that when we got to Castle Gandolfo at the Vatican Observatory, where he was going to meet astrophysicist monks, and, those people that live like that, they have, that's their mission. And their mission is it fuses religion and science. I knew that would be his place and that he would probably convert at that point. And I was right. So then we left the Vatican and we went there. And then he spent a lot of time in the archives looking at Copernicus and Kepler, and, originals, by the way, and also looking at electromagnetism.
It's amazing.
And things like that. And I just couldn't get him out of the archive, just glued to these books.
It's incredible. And the other thing I wanted to follow up on from our first interview is you said this remarkable thing, and I kind of I don't know, I ignored it. Bad interviewer in my case or something, because you said this really profound thing. You said that when you went with Tyler to the Vatican Observatory, they knew who he was before having gone there. And that tripped me out when I was watching it over in the edit, because I was like, why does the Vatican Observatory, they're obviously very well respected and well staffed when it comes to real astronomy, but how do they know who a NASA mission controller from the US is?
Yeah, not only that, but when we were there, we just happened to correspond with a trip that all these young scientists from ESA, so the European Space Agency, they were all there too. And so Brother Guy, who's the director, Guy Consolmagno, he was giving them, a really awesome tour and talk and everything. So he introduced us. And so he introduced me, and they were like, kind of cool, clap, clap, clap. And they introduced Tyler with his real name, and the whole place just erupted into just, yes, like that. And that was a recognition for me that Americans kind of don't know what's going on, but they did. Yeah, they were, to them, he was a hero. Yeah, it was really, really cool.
That's incredible.
This term keeps coming up over and over again that I keep hearing, and the term is jump room. What does that mean?
Well, apparently the things I've read, because I have no personal experience of it and I've never witnessed it, but apparently it's like the portal room in Stargate. Where there's the Stargate portal, people can go in there and move from one point to another instantaneously. That is the apparent story. And there's these rumors and stories that Obama went through it. And but I don't know the answer.
Oh shit!
I don't know if that's true, and that's one of the rumors.
Okay, we have reached Looney Tunes. Okay, there's a portal in a room at this facility that takes you anywhere instantaneously. What? So if Tom has been getting downloads from these whatever the fuck, right? Can't he then travel instantaneously to this whatever the fuck, right? And then whatever the fuck is going on. A portal room, okay. Dimensions? Just places on Earth? What?
Sure. No, that's fascinating. Have you ever heard what's on the other side? Is it, I guess, another jump room, right?
No.
They're just
No idea. I mean, the big device that's in Stargate. Apparently, you go from one box to another, but I don't know the details because I've never been there, never seen it, don't know who does it. I just know these rumors, and they're everywhere.
No, I've heard about Tim Taylor being in the jump room, Grant Cameron being in a jump room, and I keep forgetting to ask more questions about it. So do you think there's actually a structure, or do you just think it's an empty room?
I don't know the answer. I doubt one part of your statement. Grant does not know a fact in all of this that he does not tell everybody. So if Grant had been in a jump room, you would know about it.
Yeah, that's what he said. He told me, or said it I think he said it in the podcast. That's how I heard about it. Was the jump. I never heard of that term.
I did not know he had been in a jump room. I missed that part.
I'm pretty sure I have to edit and insert something in right here in this interview that corrects that or doesn't, right? I'll figure that out in post. But I definitely heard Jump Room from him.
But all of this is interesting, but like, what about Tim Taylor? Tim Taylor is a NASA mission controller who has access to the President of the United States.
And done miraculous work in orthopedic instruments.
Vivex Biotechnology. It's the
and made $100 million on it.
So who is he?
I don't know the answer.
Because how are you a NASA mission controller, a biotech entrepreneur? You're telling Diana Pasulka you're part of a secret space program and you're getting sort of orders on high from...
Maybe his fucking parents were like part of the deep state, is part of the deep state, and now he inherited some shit like generational wealth, fortune, all that. I don't even know. Like, is this guy just a Rothschild, right? A Bohemian Grovey, like hippie? I don't even know. Like, how is he involved with all this? And is he like deep state to where he's like this high level and has this so much access? Does he have cheat codes for this simulation, this game we call life? Right?
You know, immediate superiors don't understand that you're part of a secret space program.
Don't have 3 letters.
Yeah.
He worked for the Hammer. That's the story. And no one that I know knows who the Hammer is.
So the Hammer is this like ineffable entity that...
I don't know. I don't even know if it's human. I don't know if it's NHI. I don't know what it is, except he told Bledsoe he works for the Hammer.
Guys, this is what we've all been waiting for. This is the absolutely reality fucking shattering information that you've watched till the end of this video for. What the Hammer? Is this like an alien, a interdimensional being that judges you? Like, is this what the Bible was all about? Were they talking about this shit? What even the Hammer? We gotta Google that. There's gonna be so many of us placed on watch lists. We need to dissect this man, Tim Taylor. We need to investigate the mystery, and yeah, there's too much curiosity to go around over here, guys. The Hammer. So it's a really interesting, it sounds like another movie, sci-fi, etc. It judges you unbiasedly, or some tool like that, right? We're always making tools. I don't even know what.
Who told you about Tim Taylor reporting to the Hammer? He responded, Bledsoe, as in Chris Bledsoe. Do you know how long Tim Taylor has been reporting to the Hammer? No. What would be your best guess on who the Hammer is? I've no clue, he says.
He said, watch the movie The Adjustment Bureau. He said, there's a reason that movie was made. And he told me, he said, on that movie, you'll see what we call the Hammer. And he said, Chris, I work for the Hammer, and the Hammer works for God. That's in the book. What does that mean? I don't know. But I was told that, I shared that, and there's a lot more there about this individual. And but yeah, this is the kind of stuff that's coming from the government. They don't really know what it is. That's why they're trying to figure it out. I think it's being conscience-based, they have no clue.
Is that there's a hierarchy of being with non-human intelligence being included in that. Cosmism, which Diane is an expert at, is at the root of both the Russian and the U.S. space program. And consciousness is a component not only of metaphysics, but of physics itself.
So if you go to the Russian cosmist tradition, which is a similar tradition, where they believe in, like Konstantin Tchaikovsky believed in NHI, and that he was, he believed in this and he wrote books about it. And he's the father of Russian rocketry. And I began to do the same work with our space program. And in fact, I found it was Jack Parsons. Now, of course, if anybody knows about Jack Parsons, the patterns here match in terms of he believed that he was in contact. Jack Parsons is the father of our space program, by the way. He thought that he was working for the common task of humans, of getting us into this space. So this would be the Russian and the American in fact, I named my book American Cosmic because I was impressed that we hadn't talked about it, and I thought that somebody should.
So this has been an absolute bombshell of a video, and it's not over yet. There's still 1 or 2 clips left that I have to show you. So make sure you stay around for it. And I just want to say thank you for the support recently. We're trying to get 500 subs, trying to become profitable. And yeah, this has been really fun. The hammer, let's fucking Google that shit. Get all put on watch lists. Guys, if you like this video, I will send you a UFO. It will be outside your driveway, okay? No scam, no joke at all. But in all honesty, subscribe, notifications on, leave a like, share with anyone you know. This is a massive story, the biggest story that's ever been talked about, I think. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Daily uploads. Let's go.
These non-disclosure agreements, they're awful. They are, if you open your mouth, there's nothing you can do to protect yourself. And if you're asked by anyone, you're not allowed to say, I won't comment. The only thing you're allowed to say is the lies they tell you to tell.
Oh,
You are required to lie
that's interesting.
if you're asked about it.
Wow.
And that's not this stuff. I mean, it's a thing like it.
Sure.
It's one of these deepest, blackest programs I've been in. And the NDA says you gotta lie. You don't tell who sponsors. You don't tell the name of the program. You don't tell what it was for. If asked about it, you lie and report them.
Did you lie at any point during our interview?
No, so you didn't ask me about one of those programs.
No, I know.
Did I go wrong? I lost a friend somewhere.